Hello everybody. So with the news that Demon's Domain might be destroyed, I want to take the time to break down Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, and whether or not their new drop spot, Brutal Boxcars, is actually good enough for them to win Grands out of, to win FNCS. So we're going to be breaking down their most recent scrim win from Pro Scrims to really get a sense for how they play this drop, is it a good enough drop, and just, do they have a chance to win? So the first thing to note is they just have a lot of space in this respect. This is very similar to how Vino, Vico, and Flixie play the drop similarly, where people just have such respect for their ability to fight that no one even dares come into this zone. It's just nothing but death. So we're going to probably see a very similar thing happen in Grands, where every single top team is so fearful of being keyed by Peterbot that they would rather steer clear than go anywhere near Peterbot. So I'm going to skip forward a bit, skip this like early stage looting, and kind of just get like a sense for their loot. So when it comes to the loot they get when they don't get the mythic Spire, it's not great. While they do have a lot of extra heals, 12 minis, 3 medkits, and he's able to juggle extra bigs, having a great outlaw on Peterbot definitely isn't ideal. Meanwhile, on Cold, actual good loot, and on Ritual, okay loot, not great. But Peterbot, on the other hand, has pretty poor loot. So that in and of itself probably strikes you, and you think this drop spot probably isn't that good. But the secret to this drop spot is going to be revealed in about 20 seconds, and that is the mythic Spire. So while Peterbot sits here and trades with threats and just honestly owns him, Cold and Ritual are over here, and they're doing something very smart. So whenever you use the kill switch revolvers and use them in this jumping phase, if you do 500 damage, you gain 250 hero points. So, 250. And because both Ritual and Cold both have these dualies and are killing the Spire with the dualies, they are able to gain an additional 500 hero points while killing this mythic Spire. So because of that, that's going to allow them to get an even higher hero rank. Peterbot is a trio that wants to get as many capes as possible. Capes are the best mobility this season. And so if they're able to maximize the hero rank they get while killing the Spire, something they're already going to do, it only makes it easier for their end game to be even better. Now I'm going to actually rewind real quick and show a bit of the loot Cold got there, but it's going to come into play later. So we kill the Spire. And the thing to note about killing the Spire isn't the exotic, it's this. Goes away, but I think you caught it there. 310 gold. Whenever you kill the mythic Spire, you gain 200 gold, which is going to enable them to play in Storm a lot more than most teams. So between the two Chug Jugs, this one and this one, combined with the 300 gold that is now on Cold in his inventory, they can essentially carry around 3 medkits in Cold's inventory because he can just go to a vending machine and buy them, while also having more whites than just about any other team in this lobby. Combine that with getting a gold sentinel, a purple sentinel, and the exotic sentinel from this Spire, and all of a sudden, while Peterbot's loot might not look that great, we go to his teammates, this is about as good as anyone's loot can get in Fortnite. Absolutely godly, and we have Ritual juggling over an extra shotgun for Peterbot. So, already in this game, I'm going to rewind a little. Apologies, but I think it'll help get across the point as to why this drop is so good. So while Ritual and Cold were over there, getting their hero rank up, Peterbot was over here, and he was trading his little butt off. Absolutely 1v3 in Booga. So I'm going to leave this at 4x. I just want you to see the numbers flash on your screen and just be impressed. And so, while they were over there juggling all those heals, bringing up all the Spire loot to Peterbot, Peterbot was over here getting roughly 700 damage in total. And so for the rest of the game, they're in a very, very good spot. So Peterbot keeps trading until he is literally out of heals, comes down, and because of good old Richie, he comes down to a full stack of minis, extra bigs, a sentinel pump, and a extra spire, just already lying around for him. And so this is the secret to this drop. This spire that spawns here has the highest spawn rate of any spire on the map. It has a 75% spawn rate. That's because in each of the first 3 zones, the Fortnite game picks a random spire to spawn. So maybe on first zone, Fortnite randomly picks Foxy. And then on second zone, it randomly picks Crime. Then on third, it picks Boxcars. The key is that it has to pick a spawn that's in zone. Because Boxcars is the most centered POI of any POI that can spawn a Spire, Boxcars is the most likely spot to get a Spire spawn. 75% of the time, a Mythic Spire spawns Brutal. And so 75% of the time, Peterbot's trio is going to have some form of exotic, whether that is the exotic sentinel, the exotic outlaw, or maybe the exotic pistol. And they're going to have 2 chugs, and they're going to have a lot of gold. And so let's see how they play now with this ridiculous loot. Combine that with the fact that they are a pretty high hero rank already. They're up to B. So now notice how they're now trying to use the dualies on Peterbot there for a short moment before its next zone popped. The reason why is if Peterbot can somehow gain 500 damage as well, that would basically guarantee them A rank. Now, because they've stacked their heals so well, they are absolutely drip. So they have 2 dash sprites. This was in case they did not get the Spire to spawn. They still have their backup plan of their mobility. They have med mist, they have med kits, they have bandages. They even have an extra spray weapon in case they can drop their DMRs and minis. They have everything they need in order to stay in this spot as long as possible to maximize their damage. They see a team fighting in zone here. Osid is a solo now because his teammates died, and honestly, all hope is lost for Osid. He's trying to hide in the box. Not really much you can do here. Peterbot plays a perfect angle, instantly edits the ramp, baits out Osid to shoot it, then pumps him when he does. Unfortunately, not able to really tell what he did there in order to kill Osid, but we get the general idea. Tries to bait out this edit. Doesn't really go as they planned, so they end up disengaging from this. Once again, just infinite minis on them. Just absolute infinite minis. After that team disengages, they circle back. That is because off that kill, they gained their hero rank. Every single A chest, and this was an A chest, every single one, once you open it, grants you a guaranteed cape. And so getting to an A rank is very, very important to most team strategies. Because if you can get access to that better loot, that better mobility, when it's hard to get 3 capes for your entire trio, it makes it a lot easier for your trio to place. And so that is why in the early game, when they don't have too many opportunities to get a high hero rank, on like a spot like Demon's Domain, where killing Diago gets you to such a high rank, they have to make sure that they kill the Spire with their kill switch revolvers. Now we're going to see the Vino dash tech, where if you just tack sprint and then double jump into a launch pad, it sends you flying. Ritual actually does it better than him. I'm going to go back and watch this from Ritual's POV because Peterbot did mess it up slightly there. Just so you can see like it had full potential and done correctly, in case you haven't already. Double jump, hit the launch pad, and you just get absolutely sent flying across the map. Now they're going to chain that into even more mobility and dash tech into this umbrella, which sends you flying even further. Just to maximize the speed they can rotate across the map. They come across King here. Now they don't want to like actually commit to this fight, but they realize something, which is that there is a hero chest inside Crime City. When you have a high hero rank, it reveals the chest to you on the map. They see that. As they're rotating, they find even more whites in this building. And just in general, if you are a team that has a lot of whites, as you're rotating into zone, you want to maximize the amount of spots you rotate through that could have more whites. So this building they find 2 medkits inside of it. They're going to then go into Crime City, and they're going to find another medkit. While they're on this path, rather than just simply whitelining and rushing in, they chose to take this route where they were able to find even more whites. They're able to maximize the amount of whites they find because they don't panic and rotate through spots where they can find more. So if you're ever in a spot like them where you're rotating to zone late and you have Chug Jug and then on Ritual, so you have 2 Chug Jugs, you can afford to take some time to look through spots to find even more whites. So as they're rotating through here, they find barrels, they find another medkit, they find a bunch of whites, and then Peterbot's able to replenish his cape. So this is where the thing I highlighted before when it comes to the gold Cold gets comes into play. This is going to get a little messy because of replays, but I'm going to try my best to talk you through what happens here. So they get into zone here, and they're like, hey, do we pop Chug Jugs? And then it all clicks in their head. There is a vending machine here inside this train station. So if they can just box fight this team off of it, because Cold has so much gold, in fact, they all have a pretty decent amount of gold, Peterbot and Ritual both having more than 100, they can buy themselves heals, as well as, like just the mending, as well as buy themselves big. So that is why they start this random box fight. It might seem like a little strange being 1200 above, having basically god loot to just start this fight, but the reason why is because they have so much gold, and because they have so much gold, they're incentivized to fight for this vending machine to ensure that they are able to be healthy as possible without burning through those Chug Jugs. Notice how while they are fighting, so while Peterbot and Cold are box fighting and pushing this team back, Ritual is sitting on their back, making sure a team does not lurk up on them. The worst possible case scenario here is that their game just ends right here because they are full tunnel visioned on this fight. Really good awareness there. This is a box fight where it's like not a full commit box fight. It's just a fight where you just want to push them back. But slowly but surely, they just slowly take the piece. So it does get a little messed up with some of the bills not showing and stuff. That's why I set off to talk you through it. But eventually they're able to get some peace, get some 6 tiles going. Once they get those 6 tiles going, they just start spraying for control. They do get in a little bit hard. Almost leads to them dying. But now, as you can maybe kind of see, we do have control of the vending machine, which is right in front of them. Right here. So now that they have control of that vending machine, I'm going to switch over to Cold's POV. Hey, let me go back real quick because I kind of glossed over. I kind of missed it, guys. My apologies. So, as they're box fighting there, not only is Cold able to buy heals, but he's able to buy bigs. And they're able to juggle them back. Right here. He's able to buy mending. And then buys just as many bigs as he can. And so now, all of a sudden, because we have so much gold from before, even though we did take a bit of damage in this fight, we still find ourselves with 6 minis, 2 bigs. We find ourselves with a Chug Jug, 3 bigs. And we find ourselves with 3 bigs and a Chug Jug. Still incredible loot, and that's all because they had a lot of gold from before and then played to maximize their loot even more by playing through Crime City and then playing for even more heals. Also, because Surge is so high in these Grands prep lobbies, even though they were 1,300 above before, for a moment there, they were only 300 above. They aren't even that safe on Surge. Surge is super, super high in these lobbies. I'm going to switch to Peterbot's POV here, because this is the most Peterbot play you might ever see in your life. just pure Peterbot. They do know that they're up a man, and then notice the crosshair placement after he gets that kill. Instead of just getting a dopamine rush, he instantly resets and focuses his attention on this wall where he saw a visual. Honestly, basically perfect crosshair level. If this guy wasn't crouched, he would basically be perfect head level. This is what you always want to do. You just want to be prepared. If a guy is just like sitting on this wall and just waiting for you, he shouldn't be able to just get a free pump. You just want to be able to make sure you can punish him like he does there. He loses the trade even though he is able to get that surprise pump off. So now that we're in the true end game here, we're going to start to see how Peterbot's playstyle is likely to be in Grands, because it is a bit different than how he has played Div Cups and Heats. They're a lot more low ground focused than they've been in the past. So they use the extra mats to tarp ahead. I'm going to keep my eyes mainly on Peterbot, because he is the IGL. He is where most of the plays are going to happen. So as they go through these little builds, they do get pretty lucky and find a body. It isn't much more than siphon mats, but still, pretty lucky. From here, we're going to see what a lot of teams do, which is play too wide whenever you're on low ground. The reason why is to maximize the chance that you don't get cut off. Just keeping control of as much like room on low ground as possible so you don't get cut off, so you don't just die in a dumb way. Once again, every time he comes into like a clearance, he tries to just get like too wide as best as he can. So, I want to just work through Peterbot's eyes there for a moment just to try and understand what he's looking for and like the thought process to why he looks from middle zone to his back. So, when we get in here after ramping off that team and kind of establishing the spot, in Peterbot's mind, he goes, I'm safe. Because he's ramped off this team middle low ground. Cooper over here. Let me do that in pink. Cooper over here with metal. So now he's going to try and look back. This team, Cooper, is already in zone. But Magma, back here, isn't. So his eyes shift back. He sees 3 visuals, and he knows that there's a very real possibility that he can try and do something here. Whether it's he gets one of them to run across his doubles, whether it's he aggroes them from floors down here, whether it's any one of 10, 20 different things. There's a lot of possibilities he can take on this kill because they're coming into him. So that's why his eyes go from middle, already established team, to team not established. But while he's doing that, team in middle starts to aggro him. Resets, pulls out a shotgun. Reason why he does that is he's further than his teammates, so if anyone's going to edit, it's going to be them. Then just tries to reestablish. Make sure they have space. So next zone pulls. This is the advantage of having capes if you are a low ground team. So because they have capes, even when zone pulls opposite for them and they do find themselves buried here, they can just cape and just be in a fine position. If you are a dash team, you probably have to go out to this side over here and then dash. It gets super, super messy. It's very easy to just find yourself in a very bad position. But capes, on the other hand, allow you to gamble low ground and then recover in a way that isn't possible otherwise. So they gamble low, they don't get it, they reset, they go forward, they immediately establish a 2x2. I don't know what Boji's doing here, but Boji for some reason runs out, leaves an open wall, and kind of sentences Day to his death. In a very interesting way, so they're able to get a free kill. Day's body drops to low, so they chase it to low. But once again, because they have capes, chasing this body to low is not a disaster. Once they can find any sort of open space, they can very easily recover by just caping out and reestablishing themselves front. Notice how they're taking this slow, they're cross-hairing everything. Behind any wall here can be a threat. So what does he do? Every time he's being idle, like he's not leading, he just allows his shotgun to be out, finds a clear path out, and then capes around. And now we've reestablished ourselves front low again. This is the sort of gameplay you can do when you have a cape, but if you don't have a cape, playing like this is very, very difficult. Again, that goes back to why they played so aggressively for that hero rank in the early game with the kill switch revolvers. So another benefit to having a 2-wide, like we just saw there, is the fact that you just have more edit possibilities. You're able to just find more kills if you have more edits. Because they are 2-wide there, they're able to just edit this cone, get a really free kill. Whereas if they were not 2-wide, they might not have gotten that. Huge kill. Probably already noticed Ritual has capped hards. Now, this is where this game gets weird. This is a very rough game for low ground, because it pulls up elevation. As you can see, pulls up to the right. And so because of that, being on low ground does get pretty scuffed here. We are going to, in fact, lose cold very soon. So they wait. Again, like I said before, where it comes down to gambling zone. Because they all have a cape, they're able to do this. They're able to gamble on low. If they were a dash team or any other team in this lobby that doesn't have triple cape, them gambling low here is really, really bad. Because the zone pulls up this way, far from them, over in this direction. Their game is over. Because they're not going to be able to get up safely, there's really not much they can do. But because they have triple cape, they're able to afford to take risks that other teams can't. So they gamble low ground here. If zone pulls to them, they probably win the game. They don't get that pull, and so they insta-cape. Peterbot cuts off this team low. Once again, establishing that 2-wide. Cole gets stuck, though, in a position where he can't uncrouch. Cooper is able to first try as well, and he dies. Peterbot is able to reestablish a good position to try and fight them off, as does Ritual. And they do not give up this low. Crucially, they do not give up this position they're on. If they did, there's a very real possibility that they don't win this game. But because they keep fighting from the position, this layer that they're at, they're able to recover. Notice the discipline on the edit there. So, initially, when he sees those guys running on his wall, his first instinct is to edit and pump. It's what everyone's instinct is to do. Dopamine rush, player on our wall. But he has that discipline. He has that discipline. He goes to edit. He realizes it's 3. He cancels the edit, and he edits up and capes out. That is the game-winning play right there. That is discipline that can only be taught by playing the game. You need to play the game hours on hours on hours on hours to have the experience to make that call. Because he's able to do that, he's able to go out, he resets, gets up a few layers, Ritual is then able to get up to him as well. And now, they are both still 200 HP. In a game this deep into it, being healthy is a win condition in and of itself. Peterbot's able to get a kill on Xanda. They notice Heights playing very, very close to them. And we're just going to see a bit more Peterbot plays. We cape up. Booga tries to do the correct play, which is try to cone him off. He's not able to do it. Peterbot's able to get above. And just not much you can do there against the best player in the world. Because off one of these kills, he was able to pick up the Invis coin. He drops down, doesn't take any fall. Now, remember, earlier in this game, they took a lot of Storm. They are in Storm Sickness Warning. They cannot play heal off, even if there is heal off on their bodies. They have to chase down Craze. Peterbot loses track of Craze. Ritual, though, is able to keep track of him. And thankfully, again, because Ritual is still healthy, because he hadn't taken any damage, he's able to absorb that 100 pump from Craze, and they're able to win the game. So this win was in large part set up because of their early game, because of them getting that high hero rank, which allowed for them to play a certain playstyle. I hope you guys learned a bit from this. I hope you guys kind of have a better expectation for what Ritual and them can do going into this Grands. And yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you liked it, make sure to comment, like, subscribe. I'm going to be posting more videos leading up to Grands now that we finally have content again.